There's a neighborhood in Palm Springs where your morning can start with a walk to coffee, pivot into a mountain hike, spend the afternoon at a world-class art museum, and then end somewhere on the arenas with a great cocktail and even better company, all without touching your car keys. I'm Glen Nadeau, and in this video, we're exploring downtown and central Palm Springs. This is one of the most misunderstood, underestimated, and exciting places to own real estate in the Coachella Valley. Because for the right buyer, this neighborhood is a completely different way of experiencing life in the desert. If you have questions, drop them in the comments below. Let's dive in. Downtown in central Palm Springs tends to catch people off guard, and I say that with full affection for the neighborhood. Certain buyers tell me they want to be close to downtown until they actually spend a week here and realize what that means on a Tuesday. This is not a tucked away neighborhood where the loudest thing you hear is a hummingbird. This is energy, movement, and culture. It's where Palm Springs feels genuinely alive, and that vitality is the whole point. The buyers who thrive here aren't looking to escape from the world. They're looking to step directly into the version of what they actually enjoy. The people drawn to this part of Palm Springs tend to share one thing in common. They've decided that how they live matters more than how much space they own. They'd rather walk to a great dinner than have a formal dining room they use 4 times a year. Many are in that season of life where the calculus has shifted. Less about accumulation, more about presence. You'll find full-time residents, second homeowners, and seasonal buyers all layered together here. And a significant portion of them are in that what comes next chapter with very clear answers. This is also one of the most LGBTQ+ centered areas in the entire country. Palm Springs already ranks among the most LGBTQ+ populated cities in the US, with roughly 40 to 50% of the residents identifying as part of the community. But downtown is the heartbeat of all of that. People come here not just to live, but to belong somewhere, and that distinction matters tremendously. Here's the part that doesn't fully land until you're actually living it. On a random weekday, you could walk to Cheeky's for breakfast in the morning, head straight up into the San Jacinto Mountains because the trailheads are right there. Spend part of your afternoon shopping downtown and through the Uptown Design District, and still make your dinner reservation on foot. No car, no parking. This is the most walkable area in Palm Springs, which, in a city where most neighborhoods make a car feel like a vital organ, is genuinely significant. Now here's where I want to be honest with you, because the trade-off is real. Living in the core near Palm Canyon or Barristo means you're in the middle of things. Events, visitors, nightlife, that energy doesn't disappear in the evening, but move a few blocks to either direction and the picture changes. Historic neighborhoods like the Movie Colony or the Tennis Club offer walled estates, quiet streets, and an old Hollywood stillness that feels almost startling given how close you are to everything. So this isn't a conversation about loud versus quiet. It's about knowing exactly where within the neighborhood fits how you actually want to live. This is where Palm Springs becomes distinguishable. The architecture here isn't beautiful in the same ways that most neighborhoods aspire to be beautiful. It's globally recognized, deeply specific, and in many cases, irreplaceable. You're surrounded by original mid-century modern work, clean lines, butterfly roofs, a seamless relationship between indoor and outdoor space, and not reproductions. Original homes by Richard Neutra, Albert Frey, and Donald Wexler. Alongside that, you have Spanish colonial homes with the romantic courtyards and thick-walled, cool and contemporary condo communities right in the downtown core. It's one of the most architecturally diverse neighborhoods in the entire city. When you buy here, you're purchasing more than real estate. You're buying into a piece of design history. Geographically, this is the center of Palm Springs, and in a very practical sense, that matters. You're bordered by the mountains to the west, sunrise to the east, and everything worth doing sits right in between. The airport is minutes away, Palm Canyon Drive is right outside, restaurants, galleries, hiking, and nightlife galore, all of which are walkable. One detail most people miss, sitting up against the San Jacinto Mountains actually protects this area from the wind that persists throughout North Palm Springs. Outdoor living is more consistent here throughout the day and night. Condos in central Palm Springs generally start in the mid-400s and move into the 800,000 depending on condition, HOA structure, and whether the land is owned or leased. Single-family homes realistically begin around $1 million, and the range moves upward quickly from there. In areas like Old Los Palmas and the Movie Colony, historic and celebrity homes regularly reach $5 million and beyond. The current market is more balanced than the frenzy we saw during the pandemic years. Homes are sitting longer and buyers have more negotiation room than they did then. That said, turnkey homes in generally walkable locations still move at a different pace because there's a finite amount of real estate this close to downtown, and that won't change. Short-term rental expectations are where I see the most preventable frustration, so I want to address that directly. A lot of buyers arrive assuming they can purchase a central Palm Springs and immediately list on Airbnb. Palm Springs operates under a strict short-term rental cap of 20% per neighborhood, and most central neighborhoods are already at or near their cap. Permits also do not transfer with the sale. If rental income is part of your strategy, that conversation needs to happen before you fall in love with a specific property. This is precisely why working with someone who knows these neighborhoods street by street makes a real difference. Buying the right home in the right zone for your actual goals is essential. This is where I'd encourage you to think a little differently, especially if Palm Springs is more of a 5 to 10 year plan than an immediate one. Waiting has a cost, and that doesn't show up on a spreadsheet. Many of our clients are buying now, using the home part-time, renting it when they can to offset carrying costs, and positioning themselves to move in fully when life catches up to their plan. They're not rushing. They're simply not waiting passively either. The lifestyle this neighborhood offers doesn't become more accessible over time. The inventory of architecturally significant, walkable, and culturally rich homes in Palm Springs is not growing. Buying intentionally, with clear eyes on the STR rules, neighborhood character, and your long-term picture is how you get ahead of that reality rather than chasing it. This deserves more than a line item because it means more than a line item to a lot of people. Palm Springs isn't LGBTQ+ friendly in the way that phrase sometimes gets used, as a polite signal that you won't be made to feel uncomfortable. It's integrated in the fullest sense of the word. Downtown is where that shows up most visibly and most organically. You're walking distance from the Arenas District, you're minutes from warm sands, you're surrounded by people who share your lifestyle, your references, your experiences. Not as a curated community, but as an actual texture of daily life. For buyers relocating from cities or towns where that kind of visibility has always felt conditional, this often becomes the deciding factor. Not the architecture, not the weather, not the investment angle, the feeling of simply being home. Most disappointment in Palm Springs real estate isn't about the home itself. It's about choosing the wrong neighborhood for the life you actually want to live. People assume all of Palm Springs is roughly the same. It isn't. They assume that close to downtown is always a positive, not if your priority is tranquility and privacy. They assume short-term rental income is freely available, not without planning and the right property and the right location from the start. Getting clear on what you actually want before you start falling in love with the listings makes everything that follows easier and sharper. This neighborhood works best for people who want connection, walkability, and culture as part of their everyday life. People who would generally rather step outside and feel something happening around them than maximize square footage in a quiet pocket of the valley. And especially people who are thinking ahead, because this is one of the rare places where buying now can genuinely shape how you live later. If you're sorting through Palm Springs neighborhoods based on how you actually want to live, not just what looks good on a map, I'm always happy to talk it through. People reach out to me every week who are thinking about buying now, relocating later, or quietly planning their next chapter. If that sounds like you, my contact information is in the description below. No pressure, just clarity when it's helpful. If you haven't yet already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more exciting changes, developments, and opportunities taking place here in Palm Springs and the Coachella Valley. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.